Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to do a video that has been requested. A lot of people have asked me to do this video and have noticed that I have changed up my look. My concealer routine is mostly what has changed for me. As we get older, we definitely need to change our makeup to adapt to our age and what looks best on us. This is what I have done. I will go over the products and I will do a demo of the concealer and the way that I do it personally and what works best for me. So under my eye, I have a eye serum and a concealer. It is very, very important to have an extremely hydrated under eye. It is one of the few spots on my entire face that actually is drier. Everywhere else on my face, I would say is more combo, but my under eyes are considered more dry. I would consider myself having moving into that mature category as well at this point in my life. So I'm gonna start off with some options. I always use a color corrector. I have two in particular that I like right now. Color correctors are tough. A lot of them are going away, but hopefully but surely some of them are coming back. I know there are drugstore color correctors out there. I have yet to find one that I like. It's just the truth, sorry. So that is what it is. So we have the Chanel corrector right here. This is lovely and I'm using the color Apricot. They also make a peach as well. I just went with Apricot. I kind of wanted two different colors of correctors because I change color so often. So I wanted one that's a little darker and one that's a little lighter. So the Chanel corrector is in Apricot. That one's a little bit darker here. And they do also make a lighter one, which is in peach. Then this new one that just came out, it's called the Tarte Shape Tape Corrector, which is weird because I don't like Shape Tape the concealer, but I wanted to give this corrector a try. This is in their peach color. And this one is significantly lighter. I like to have two different colors because I change color pretty quickly. In the winter, I'm pretty light, and in the spring and summer, I start to get rather tan. I can use both of these all year round. It doesn't really matter. It just depends on my preference and what I want to do. But I wanted to make sure I give you two different color corrector options, the Chanel one and then the Tarte one. Okay. When it comes to concealers, I've got lots of favorites, but I'm kind of moving towards these currently. These are my top four, and I like them for different reasons. We'll start out with my holy grail, which I just can't seem to put this one down. This is the Kosas concealer, and I am wearing the shade 3.5. I actually would like to pick up shade 4 as well when I start to get a little darker because this is a lighter concealer. But I love this concealer a lot, and I know why the hype is real, okay? Another concealer that I'm going to talk about, of course, are the Chanel concealers. I have shade 30 and 40 here. I like these a lot. They're really nice and lightweight under the eye, and they just kind of melt in. They look beautiful. It is a more expensive concealer, but I do like it, and I do use it. As you can tell, I've used quite a lot of these already. And then I'm going to mention this concealer. I don't mention this one as often only because it's a little harder to find. This is from Julep. This is the Cushion Complexion Concealer 5-in-1 Skin Perfector with turmeric. Right here, and I've got two different colors. I like to mix these because it's an older concealer. It is harder to find, so sometimes I can't always find my exact shade, so sometimes I buy two. I have the 140 Buff and then the 210 Cashmere. I think they make a color called Nude as well. I think that's my ideal color, but I typically bounce between these two concealers. Again, I get really tan. So it just depends on which concealer. These are harder to find, but you can find them online. They're great. I think they're probably the most inexpensive concealer on this list. I think they're like $16, $17. And then last but not least, this is kind of my honorable mention concealer because I do use this and I do like it. It's the Tinty Doll Ultra Concealer, and I like the shade 215. And then I also use the shade 250 and 260 when I'm a little bit darker. I just keep the little sample sizes of it. I had full sizes of it, and I ended up giving that away. Just because I tend to rotate concealers a lot, and I've been on the full-fledged hunt for the best concealer. So now that I've rambled on a ton about my concealers and which ones I like, let's do this. I'm going to go in with that Shape Tape color corrector. I am going to use this one just because this is a newer formulation, and I think it might be a little easier to find than the Chanel. I'm scraping off a lot of the product. There is no need for us to use as much product as we do. It's really quite crazy how much product we actually use. So I'm going to show you guys, I just take the little wand here and it's flat. I don't know if it's registering on camera that it's flat. And this is what I do. I do a dot there And then right here in what I consider like the pocket is where I put that as a corrector, okay? I do one eye at a time, so keep that in mind. So here we go. I like to take a ring finger and I start blending out that pocket first. You can always add more concealer, but once you've got too much concealer, it just kind of looks ridiculous. As you can see, just with that color corrector, and I'm just blending it in the pocket. I'm not trying to bring it out very far. I kind of stop here at the iris, if you guys can see that, and then work it into this darker part of my eye by the inner tear duct. Okay. That's how I do it. That's how I like it. You can see drastically the difference between this eye and this eye, just how much better it looks just with the corrector. If you're fortunate enough where you don't need a lot of concealer or your corrector is kind of closer to your skin tone shade, you may be able to pull that off. I personally need both. That's just the way it is. I'm going to use the Kosas concealer. Obviously, it is my go-to. I like to scrape off again a lot of that concealer. As you've noticed, both of these products have that flat paddle to them. I find that I just really like this sort of applicator. It just kind of works for me. But I do scrape off a lot of that product. You don't need nearly as much concealer as everyone tries to say you do. And then I do the same exact relatively placement here. And then I do one eye again at a time. And I press that concealer in. So as you can see, this is a lighter, a brighter concealer. I could go with a little bit of a darker shade if I wanted. But this concealer is so popular, it is hard to find in stock. They're doing a little bit better with that now, but I just kind of work it out here. If you have extra product and you want to go across the eye, you can. You do not have to, but you totally can. So that is the concealer, and you can clearly see the difference. I am happy with that amount of concealer on. Like I said, I don't like a ton. I like it very light and bright, but it is brightening up what I actually need. Then what I like to use is, this is the translucent veil from Hourglass. They make it in a mini size as well, but it has this great little sifter. I just pop a little of the product out. And then for my demo, I'm using the Sephora 19 brush. I believe this is a crease brush. You want a really small brush, and I just kind of tap it in there. You don't want a ton of product. I kick a little bit off if you need to. And then I take it and I literally roll it where I've put the concealer. I like to dust my whole lid with it as well. You don't have to do that. That's just something I like to do. And make sure that entire under eye looks bright. Do the same thing to the other eye. Okay, huge difference, right? Just from that tiny little amount of powder. Now it is set and I don't have to worry about it. Once I've done that, now it's time for my foundation. I use a powder foundation. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet or not, but I have reviewed the Makeup Forever, their new HD Skin, the Velvet Matte. You can use it with the sponge. I actually got this new brush on Amazon. I love it. I think it's like $7 or $8. Other YouTubers, I think, have been talking about it like crazy. I'm sure TikTok, all of that jazz has too. But I really like this. It's a very soft brush, and for the price, you can't beat it. It's got this really nice flat top. And I've just been kind of favoring this particular brush lately. So I'm going to go in with my brush. I kind of pat it on, and then I kind of work it on my skin. Obviously, you would do, if you wear liquid foundation, you would do your color corrector first, then your liquid, then you put your, your concealer on, and then you would set it with your powder. Because I wear powder foundation, my order's a little bit different. So this is the order I do. Right. I'm happy with this amount of coverage. I am just running errands today, so I don't need a full glam. I just need my everyday makeup on. And I am happy with that. So now that I've moved on from that powder foundation, then I go into this product. they only carry, I believe, the fuller compacts now, which has all 6 colors, but I still have my refill pans. And then this is the medium shades. It's Lyric and Shadow Play, and this is from KVD Vegan Beauty. Mine is extremely loved. I'm sure you guys can see that on camera, but it has this beautiful banana powder shade. So this is a very important step to me that I have to do. I've got to take that same brush that we were using with that translucent powder, and I rub it into that banana powder, and then I go straight in on my under eye to brighten that up. It adds just the most beautiful lit from my sockets within look without adding a whole lot of texture or emphasizing and making my under eye look heavy or old. I did not get hardly any sleep last night. Sometimes I sleep great, sometimes I don't. And so you can see just by looking at both eyes what a difference that little bit of powder makes, okay? So once I do that, I like to do my contour, my bronzer, and my blush. I'm gonna just do that now. I like to use my KVD Shade and Light brush. I really like their brushes, and then I'm gonna go straight into that contour color. And then I just do a little bit. I do the top of the ear to the hollow of the cheek, up the forehead, and then down a little bit. My jaw, not crazy on my jaw. I don't want to look too chiseled out. I prefer it mostly on my cheek. Again, this is all preference and how you like to do your makeup and what you want your face to look like. This is just how I do it. Okay, once my contour is on, I love the Tarte bronzer. This is the Park Avenue Princess. I prefer this bronzer mostly because it is waterproof. You can also use it on face and body. Mine is also very well loved, just to kind of show you guys how much I really do use these products. One of the home shopping networks does a great special on this where you get 2 huge ones for like 50 bucks. I think that just happened recently. I didn't need any, so I didn't order any more. I still have another full size, but it's just such a great deal. I have purchased the smaller ones, and for some reason I just like the bigger pan. I don't know. That's just my preference. Then I take that round brush and just kind of clean up if any fallout has happened, kind of melt it together. After my bronzer, I go into my blush. This is one of my favorite blushes. It's also very used up and sad looking. This is Orgasm X by NARS. And yes, I use this all the time. I like a lot of blush. If that's not your thing, then don't do a lot of blush, but I think it just gives you a little something extra. Again, I put it on right on top of that bronzer and that contour, giving me warmth and life back to my skin. I like to take my blush all the way back up the hairline through the temple. Again, this is something, if you like the look, try it. If you don't, then don't. This is just how I like to do my makeup, and this is kind of my updated routine. I know I have a very classic, an older video on my channel of how I do my makeup, but this is kind of a more updated version. So I'm happy with that level of blush there. Then I go into one of my secret weapons that is so hard to find these days. It's by Kevyn Aucoin. It's called Candlelight. You can find a similar product like this in the ambient powders from Hourglass. I just use this one because I've had it. I love it. I've got lots of backups in it, and it's just my favorite. I go in with that KVD brush, that highlighter side, the round side, and I go right under my eye and I pat it in. This just adds a little something extra. I wipe it on the top of my lids, and then I kind of work it through. Not the product. It adds a extra layer of highlighter that you may or may not want to do. Some people are fine with where we stopped with just the highlighting matte powder, but I do find by adding this extra step, it just makes your eyes look really bright. Then I take that Sephora brush that we were using in the inner tear duct, and I just make sure that that product's worked all the way through. No extra product on it. Just pat it in and worked in. So that is my under eyes, okay? Then I go in with my favorite highlighter. This is an oldie but a goodie. Can't seem to let it go. That's the Marc Jacobs. I believe it's called Guilty or Guilty. The Marc Jacobs highlighter. My pan is very loved. I have a backup of this, but it is the most perfect rose gold highlighter color for me. So I just take, this is a brush from Lime Crime. I like this brush, and then I just put it on the tops of my cheeks. Take it all the way back to my hairline. I dot my eyes with it. It's a very simple routine, but you know, a lot of steps. That's typically how I do my makeup every day. It doesn't take that long when I'm not filming. It's actually quite fast. Filming actually takes a little longer. I dot the nose, the Cupid's bow, then I go back with that round highlighter brush and just kind of make sure everything looks nice. That's the skin. I'm going to put my lips and my mascara on off camera, and then I'll be back to talk a little bit more about my routine. All right, guys, with the power of YouTube, all my makeup's on. I added mascara. I added a nice little everyday lip with some lip liner. So yeah, this is it. So I was going to just go over again the products I used under my eye one more time for everybody, just to keep it easy. I used the Shape Tape Corrector, and this is the color Peach. And then I used Kosas concealer, and then I used the color 3.5 Warm. And then I used, of course, the Hourglass Veil translucent powder. I also used the Sephora 19 brush. Any crease brush will work, but I used this one. And then I used the KVD Shade and Light Highlight Contour Duo, and then the Banana Shade in Lyric. And then I also used one of my favorites, Candlelight by Kevyn Aucoin. You could also sub this out for one of the ambient powders from Hourglass. I'm just using this one because I have it. So that is the under eye routine. I also show you guys quickly how I did my foundation, blush, contour, bronzer as well, just so you can see the full demo, and my highlighter, so you could see the completed look of how I got to this. Because there are certain steps that I do at certain times of my makeup with the extra powders, and it's mostly this powder. But with that being said, this is my new routine. I think this is a perfect under eye routine for someone with a mature eye. It has way less concealer. You look less crepey and build up under the eye, less creasy as well. Then I like, last but not least, my last step is to spray it with Urban Decay, the All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. This is a really important step. I grab my little fan. You need to be setting your makeup with a makeup setting spray. It's just gonna make everything melt right in and look beautiful, especially because I wear a lot of powders, and I know everyone's scared of powder as they age, but they shouldn't be. It's all how you prep and then set your makeup. It makes a huge difference. And I think that it shows in my under eyes how different I used to wear my concealer. I used to wear it all across my eyes, and it just didn't look good. As we start to age, we get fine lines and wrinkles, and so I really just needed that inner piece to be brightened, and I think it looks more natural now. I use actually less concealer than I ever have in my entire life. The technique is a few extra steps, but it makes all the difference in the world. And hopefully you guys try this at home and it really does help you. I did this video for those people who are struggling with their under eyes. I know it gets so difficult as we get older, and it's such a pain in the butt, but I think this routine works great and you can adapt it to your eyes. If you're someone who has darkness out here, you could put a little bit, you could do the same thing out here as well, but that is not my issue, so I just don't. I also think when you put it all the way across, it just adds extra texture under the eye, especially through here where most people don't have any issues. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I post a new video every Tuesday. In the description box will always be my Instagram for daily posts, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.